Coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn, it's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show with Mark and Sarah. We're covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com.
And today's show is brought to you by United Piping, serving residential and commercial customers with new installations and repairs. Call today and schedule your oil and gas boiler cleanings at 754-4556. UPI, the best plumbers around. Also brought to you by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it. At 5 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com, and remember, the party starts at Ruper's.
We have the pleasure of being joined in studio today by the founder of Simply Breathe Therapy, Annette Williams.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for making time for us today. We're going to talk to Annette all about Simply Breathe Therapy and a whole lot more coming up here in just a bit. But before we get there, let's take a look at some headlines for Monday, June 2nd.
Lewiston City Administrator Brian Cainrath is looking to improve the city's image and is starting with Kennedy Park. Cainrath described the park as the crown jewel of our city's park system, which is currently not an inviting place for residents and visitors. Other efforts include enforcing trash violations and cleaning up graffiti.
The city of Lewiston will receive over $788,000 and Auburn over $485,000 from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to expand access to stable and affordable housing. The funds will also support essential local services and enhance job creation.
An independent board's plan to keep St. Dominic Regional High School open for the 2025-26 school year has ended. Projected fundraising and tuition revenue presented too much of a risk to maintain solvency for the entire year. The board plans to reconvene to determine next steps for the future of the school and the Auburn campus.
And actor Loretta Swit, known as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan on the TV series MASH, has died at age 87. Swift won 2 Emmys for her role in the series, which aired for 11 years during the 70s and 80s. The show's series finale in 1983 had more than 100 million viewers, the most watched episode of any scripted series ever. I don't think that'll ever be topped.
No, people have tried. Was it Seinfeld that came close?
Yeah. And now there are too many options.
Right. Yeah. Do you want to talk about the weather?
Do you?
Nah.
All right, here we go.
Rain or shine, it's all okay. Grab your uke and start the day. Clouds may come or skies turn blue. Weather's fun with me and you. The sun is bright and storms may brew. Every day's a brand new view. You don't need perfect skies above. Hey, just a song and a little love. Yeah.
Did you miss the song?
No.
It'll grow on you.
I don't hate today's weather, though. This sounds all right. Cloudy today with a high of 66 and a low of 45. And then sunny tomorrow with a high of 74 and a low of 45. And get this, sunny on Wednesday with a high of 80.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like so exciting.
Finally. It's almost like it's June now.
I know. My plants are like, yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so cool.
Yeah, here for it. Oh, by the way, rain in the forecast for the weekend.
Shh.
I didn't know if
you know what I've
anyone
decided.
was aware of that.
I've decided, because I have flexibility with my actual other job, that I'm going to start taking 2 days off during the week and just work Saturday and Sunday.
There you go.
Because I'm so tired of not having it be sunny on my days off.
I think I saw a statistic that said the past 13 weekends have had rain or inclement weather.
Yep.
Good times.
Yeah.
In sports, Trevor Story hit a bases-clearing double, and Garrett Crochet struck out 12 over 7 innings as the Red Sox beat the Atlanta Braves 3-1. The Sox head home to take on the LA Angels tonight at 7.
And the Maine Mayhem women's football team lost to the New York Knockout 34-0. The Mayhem will close out the regular season on the road against the Connecticut Ambush on June 14th.
That is your news, weather, and sports. And right now it's time for the podcast segment that is Sweeping the Twin Cities. It's time for famous people birthdays.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
Annette has that look on her face like, what have I gotten myself
I
into?
know.
I'm appreciating how much you invest in it at this point. It's awesome.
Thank you, Annette.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at FPBs for June the 2nd, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
We're going to start off with Wayne Brady,
Oh,
comedian,
I love him.
actor, 53 years old today.
Yeah.
Did he host Whose Line Is It Anyway?
No,
Or
he
was-
didn't
was a
host.
performer?
He was a performer, and
Gotcha.
he's got a great voice, so he's always did really, really well with anything like musical that had to happen, and he just took it away. Like, he was so talented in that regard, which makes sense because he's involved in musical theater. So
He won an Emmy Award for his work on Whose Line.
Oh,
Pretty cool, right?
yeah.
And he's won 5 Emmy Awards total. He won a couple more for The Wayne Brady Show and 2 for Let's Make a Deal.
Oh, I bet he was great as the host of Let's Make a Deal. Yeah. I loved that show, too, as a kid.
Right?
I did not know this, though. He has done, he did Kinky Boots on Broadway, which is a great show, but he played Aaron Burr in the Chicago production of Hamilton. I can't picture him as an Aaron Burr. I bet he was great. Well-rounded.
Speaking of his great voice, he was nominated for 2 Grammy Awards
Oh, no
for
kidding.
his cover of the Sam Cooke song, A Change Is Gonna Come.
Oh,
Yeah.
neat.
And Best Musical Theater Album for the soundtrack of Wiz. Huh. There you go.
Very
He's
cool.
way cooler than we thought, I
He
guess.
is. He's also hilariously funny. So there you go.
Comedian Dana Carvey,
Oh,
70 years old today.
no. Garth isn't 70.
He sure is.
Stop.
I think didn't Garth look 70 in Wayne's World?
Maybe did.
So I think he finally caught up to his character.
He was so good in that. He was so good.
SNL alum, the church lady,
Oh, right?
right? He did a great Ross Perot.
He did do a great Ross Perot.
Yeah.
He had one of the most disgusting characters on Saturday Night Live called Massive Head Wound Harry. Do you remember? Oh, it was
Yeah.
so gross. Just had a huge head wound. That was like the whole bit. Like, who let that one go through?
Yeah, he's mingling at a party.
Yeah, and the
with this
dog's licking him.
huge open head wound. Yeah,
So terrible. I don't know how that one got through.
but he is, a comedy legend for sure.
Very funny guy.
Actor Jerry Mathers, who played the Beaver on Leave It to Beaver, is 77 years old today. And rounding out FPBs for June the 2nd is actor Stacy Keach, who is 84 years old today.
My goodness.
I remember him as Mike Hammer when I was
Yes.
a kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was in the Cheech and Chong movies as well.
Oh my gosh.
He played Sergeant Stadenko in a few Cheech and Chong movies. And he played Christopher Titus's father in the sitcom Titus, which was very underrated.
Oh yeah,
If
you
you
said
ask
that.
me. Yeah, it was
you
great.
said that.
He was also an inductee to the Theater Hall of Fame and was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2019.
That's so cool.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Those are your FPBs for June the 2nd. How about some OTDs, Sarah?
21 years ago in 2004, the first episode of Jeopardy featuring Ken Jennings aired. He won $37,201 in one night. And then he won 73 more shows in a row and more than $2.5 million total.
He's what we call in Maine wicked smart,
He's wicked smart.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's the host. So 21 years ago was his debut.
I think I would last about 3 questions on Jeopardy, or 3 answers.
You don't give
rather.
yourself enough credit. You'd be
Annette, have you ever watched Jeopardy?
Yeah, it's not my jam.
Not your jam? Yeah, me neither.
I'm more of a Wheel of Fortune gal myself.
Better odds, better odds.
I'm more of a press your luck guy. No whammies, no
I
whammies.
mean, do you remember The Price is Right?
Yes.
Do you remember the yodeler? That was my favorite. As a kid, I was so stressed out by that game. It's like, oh my God. Oh, let's see. 90 years ago in 1935, Babe Ruth retired from baseball. He had 714 home runs over his 22-season career.
The Bambino.
A great Bambino.
Yep.
92 years ago in 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt had a swimming pool built in the White House.
Cool.
But then eventually, President Nixon had the pool filled in and turned into the modern press briefing room. How boring.
Oh, jeez.
Good Lord. In then 126 years ago in 1899, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid held up the Overland Express train in Wyoming. They got into such a heated argument with the conductor, they forgot about the explosives they planted, and the bridge blew up.
What a bummer.
What a bummer.
That'll throw a monkey wrench into your plans.
And lastly, 190 years ago on this day in 1835, P.T. Barnum began the first circus tour of the U.S.
Oh, my goodness.
Elephants everywhere shivered in their boots.
That's right. That's right. Ooh, I'm fine where I am.
I don't want to go there.
I don't want to join the circus. My goodness. Those are your FPBs and OTDs for June the 2nd.
Whether you want a sit-down meal or a grab-and-go, Pat's Pizza in Auburn offers delicious sandwiches, pasta, salads, and pizza at family-friendly prices. Pat's Pizza, serving the L.A. area since 1985. Open daily from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. at 85 Center Street in Auburn. Online at patsauburn.com.
Now we shift focus fully to our guest in studio, the founder of Simply Breathe Therapy in Lewiston, Annette Williams. And Annette, let's start with, what is Simply Breathe Therapy? What's it all about?
Well, we are an agency that is local here to Lewiston, and our hope is to provide well-balanced mental health support and give folks opportunity to walk in their wholeness.
When did Simply Breathe Therapy open?
2022.
So you've been open for a few years, and is this the first business that you've started?
Yes. I had a previous life.
Tell us about that. We want to hear about you, too.
So previously, a business I owned I was a professional photographer and did hundreds of weddings for 10 years. That was interesting.
Yeah.
I really ended up getting a bridezilla and kind of burnt me on it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I exited the building.
No photos for you.
But, and after that, I went back to school at 50 and got into social work and just continued to move forward from there. Yeah.
And have you counseled bridezillas now?
Maybe it hasn't really come up.
Specializing
Very
in
different
bridezillas.
lens, right? Very different lens.
Must have been pretty bad if it made you quit your business.
Yeah.
I mean, plus dually though, to be fair, the digital world was coming up,
Yeah.
right? Film was really going away. I think I was only about 4 or 5 years into it.
Yeah.
It kind of lost its flavor because I was no longer developing it in a way that was authentic. It was artificial. It just didn't feel...
Snap. Point and snap.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, plus Uncle Joe could do the same job that I could do, apparently. Right? And so, it was a natural sort of progression out. And it didn't help that she was upset with all vendors, though, to be fair.
Oh, boy.
But
Wow.
such is life.
But you know what? Catapulted you into something new.
Yeah, for sure. This has definitely been a beautiful career, and I'm 62, so 12 years on this side of education and doing what I know I'm naturally gifted to do. So,
Yeah. So going from a photography business to therapy,
yeah.
how did that transition go?
It was good because it was pretty organic when it happened. As I withdrew from photography, I started looking into what I wanted to do. And I remembered as a kid my dream, which was to help people. That was what I saw in my heart, was to help people. And so it made sense for me to go into the field. And it's been a really beautiful slide into supporting people in a mental health way, and beyond that, even just your whole body,
Yeah.
So
Was it a revelation to you that encouraged you to help people?
I just knew that it was a field that was needed and that it felt comfortable for me. It felt purposeful. And of course, going into the field of social work, you are not going in to make a lot of money. And it's never been about the money for me. It's always been about serving folks. Oftentimes therapists see them at their lowest point. And to watch them grow into who they are intended to be in this world is a beautiful thing to be a part of. So,
Have you noticed a shift in people in the last 3 or 4 years? I mean, you've opened this business in 2022, you said?
yeah, 2022, yep.
So we were coming out of a pandemic.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of moving into some uncertain economic times. So are you seeing more people reaching out? Are you finding things are changing and shifting for people?
Yeah, I think our agency grew really fast because of it. I think there's a lot of, coming out of pandemic was a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry, and stepping back into being with people and people who were having a hard time anyway, it became even more prevalent. So I've seen a lot more people concerned about maybe everyday things that are just feeling very big to them,
Yeah.
So
Can you tell us where the name came from?
when I went back to school, I got a very strong sense that I just needed to breathe, and that everything would be okay. And that just because I was 50 didn't mean I couldn't do it. Right. And so I ended up having a necklace made that said breathe. And I rubbed it so much sitting in class with 20-year-olds thinking, girl, what are you doing here? And I had to have it redone a couple times just because when I need it, I wear it. Since then, I've given it to people who have needed it. And I've loaned it out to them and said, whenever you don't need it anymore, just return it. And it's been a nice way to support people from afar. So, yeah.
Life begins at 50.
I would have to agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
I'm having way more fun now than I ever had.
I agree. Yeah.
Where is Simply Breathe Therapy located, and what types of services do you provide?
So we are at 513 Sabatis Street in Lewiston, and that is at the corner of Farwell and Sabatis, 2-story green building. And we provide individual and couples counseling. We want people to discover what their intent is and to set aside all the things that try to hick them up, try to hold them back, and help them kind of unleash their full self. And we work with clients who deal with depression and anxiety, grief and loss, relationship issues, any difficulties with self-esteem, PTSD, students, college professional folks who are just trying to get themselves leveled out. And when they're, you kind of start to notice when things sort of either you notice or the people around you notice, hey, they start to raise a red flag. This has kind of been ongoing. What's going on? And oftentimes that's what gets people through the door is just noticing that their life view has changed, or something has happened that has caused them to sort of take a hiccup, So that's our hope, is that we can help kind of get them back on track. Any stress management or medical or pain issues, some of the expertise that I have. We also are offering support groups. We're going to start out with 3 support groups. The first one is navigating blended families. And we all know in this day and age that there's a lot of challenges with coming to the table with kiddos and families that don't know each other, trying to figure things out. And so offering them a space to kind of discuss those challenges with other folks in that same place. And then survivors of narcissist personality. And these are topics that people have brought to me and said, please, when you do start a group, could you start one for this and this and this? Yeah. Have a running, list. But healing and recovery is a big part of coming out of a narcissist relationship, or if you're still in it, having the support around you. And then journeying through grief together. I worked for a year or so with Center for Grieving Children, and their model of running groups is beautiful. I've seen it transform people and their capacity to live again or feel like life was worth again. So to be a part of that was really a beautiful stage for realizing the impact that groups can have on folks.
This may come as a shock to a lot of our listeners, but I have never been to therapy. And it sounds to me like just about anyone can benefit from it.
Yeah, and you don't realize it, right, until, like I said earlier, until you're in the thick of something that sort of changes who you are, or that you begin to question, what are you doing, right? And I always tell my clients, even for myself, to have a therapist in your pocket, right, that you can draw upon. It's part of your village. It's part of who we need to support us at times. Maybe not all the time, but you ebb and flow. through life. And there's times when things get hard, and who better to process, hard feelings than with a therapist, right? So
Right.
This will come as no surprise to anybody who knows me. I have been in therapy for a long time. And I go now just once a month to check in with my therapist. And it's funny, it was never something that I did before therapy, but now I do stop and I say to myself, why do I think that way? Or why do I feel that way about this situation? And it gives me pause. And I really think about, okay, well, what happened to me that I have to react this way to this thing? And is that real?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now I'll I take a running tally too, where I'm like, I'm going to see Carolyn in 2 weeks. Let's talk about this thing that came up and see if we can dig it out and figure out what that's all about. And it doesn't have to be like anything big. It can be like a little thing where I'm like, why do I feel that way? Where did that come from? And I really kind of enjoy exploring my own brain in that way with my therapist.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about when you're asking the question, you're ready to start looking at the answer. Mm-hmm. If you're not asking, if you're avoiding, if you're trying to scoot around the whole big red ball in the middle of the room that's causing disruption. So it is really lovely to have clients begin to ask those questions, and then that they're ready to start. I call it poking the bear.
Yeah. Sometimes it's something really silly, like, why do I need to keep my car meticulous?
Yes.
I figured that out one day. I was like, oh, I know why.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And you're right. It doesn't have to be big things, right?
Yeah.
But it could be things that you realize are impactful.
Yeah.
You realize it's causing a certain behavior that you're not really wanting to keep.
Right. You can let that go.
Yes. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
As people change in your life, it's funny, you respond to new people in your life the way you responded to, like, for instance, if you have a new partner, you respond to that new partner in the same way you responded to your old partner, but it's a totally different person. And like learning how to be with that new, totally different person and leave behind those old things that you had with somebody else. Those were the things that actually sent me to therapy to start. And it makes such a difference in our relationship to like recognize, okay, this is a totally different situation. Like I have to approach it in a different way. And I think sometimes there's so much stigma associated with therapy that people don't see the benefit of it. They just feel scared of it when it's really just a tool to help you be a better person.
Right. And we go to the doctor because we don't feel well. We go to the dentist because we need our teeth cleaned.
Right.
Why wouldn't we go to the therapist to make sure our heads,
mental floss.
am I thinking right? I don't know if I'm thinking right. We don't always have all the answers right in front of us.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think the stigma is a barrier for people. And I have had clients who walk through the door not even sure why they're there, pretty much heading out the door as soon as they head in their mind, like, I'm not gonna, and then, 2-3 sessions in, they're like, I can't even believe that I held on to this. I can't even believe that I didn't come sooner. Like, wow, I wasted 18 months of, of hard stuff that I could have been working on this on the front end, So it's true. It is true. I think all of us at different points of our life could use the extra support. And if we could just normalize the idea of therapy being a part of our village, I think we would be healthier folks all around.
I like that concept that it's part of our village. Yeah. Yeah, we all have friends. There's always a friend that you can say anything and tell everything to. Like, I feel like I assume everybody has a person like that. I know I have a person like that. But if you don't, this is what therapy is for. That person who's safe and trusted, who you can say whatever you need to say to them, and they're not going to judge you. They're just going to hear you and help you figure out why you are the way you are.
Yeah. And the research shows that you really need just one person. And the therapist can help guide that to building your village. They can help you do that. If you don't have one, that's okay. Start where you're at. But everybody can build, and everyone can have someone. And if everyone has someone, then they'll be okay, right?
Yeah.
It's that silo being not connecting with people that is so damaging to the mind and the body and the spirit. So.
Right. Do you feel that the stigma is shifting?
Yes.
Like I do.
Yes.
Because now I'm envious of people in therapy. And a decade ago, no.
Yeah.
But
right.
now I'm like, wow, you're taking care of your whole being.
Yes. Yes. It's an interesting concept, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. And I appreciate you saying that, because I think that matters. That people who 10 years ago would be like, ugh, not my jam, are now realizing, oh, I see you are healthier in your life.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Physically and emotionally.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. The interesting thing is the sensory piece around trauma and the way that our triggers and our body works as a sensory tool, right? We don't even realize the things, the sounds, the feelings, the smells that impact us, that can really dysregulate us, if not processed through, if not addressed and shown that, out of this trauma comes these things that are new to you, to your body. How do we help tell your body you're safe now? How do we tell your body that the trauma is behind you and now you're in a place of safety? And how do we get get your body to think that? And so occupational therapy is a great tool. Do an OT assessment and find out what your sensory needs are and just meet them. That's why they started coming up with all of the little
fidget tools.
Yeah, fidgets to play with. It's because it actually does tell your body that you are safe. So
Yeah. What do you think about that, the concept that the body keeps the score?
flat out true.
Yeah.
I'll have clients come in and I've started reading The Body Keeps the Score. I'm like, good for you. Because it is the truth, right? That we hold all of our experiences in our body. And those experiences can shift our worldview in a way that can be positive and it can be negative. And over time, that can wear your body down. Medically, things start to happen because you're not addressing the underlying issues. Mm-hmm. A lot of folks who come out of trauma events, and they can be anything from a car accident to an assault.
Giving birth.
Giving birth is a divorce. I mean, there's just so many things that impact us as humans, right? That sort of get us off track of our intended purpose, really. And doing the work here in Lewiston with the Maine Resiliency Center and working with groups and individuals, it's very clear the value of stepping forward and getting the support, because those folks so many of them are flourishing now because they have stepped in. And then we have folks that are just now saying, oh,
how about me?
Yeah. So I think everybody gets to show up how they need to show up, and there's no judgment about where you're at in your journey. But if you recognize there needs to be a shift, then step forward, right? Be the brave soul to step forward. That is the most vulnerable thing you can do and the wisest thing you can do, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm curious, Annette, what a session looks like. Like if I were to contact you, what does that look like? What do I need to prepare for? And how often are we meeting?
Yeah, so I usually do an initial consult. So I like there to be a good fit on both sides. So the way to do that is to meet and greet. And once we've decided we want to move forward, and really the client is in charge, and I am just kind of joining them on the bus. Sessions are 45 to 50 minutes. The first couple of sessions, we have to get to know each other and we have to build trust. And so really my goal is to just get to know them, find out, what's going on in their life now, what brought them in, and then what they might want to work on. They may not even know, right? But if they do have that information, that's somewhere to go from there. Usually after a couple sessions, we can start setting some goals, identify, what we specifically want to work on. And on the front side, I like to see everybody weekly because I'm building rapport, and they are too. And so I also understand people's financial situations, their budgets. So I respect that as well. And so if somebody says, I can't really afford to come in weekly, I'll say, well, come in for 2 weeks. Let's build, and then let's talk about what's going to work for you. The problem is if you go once a month when you start out, there's so much time in between that it isn't building upon itself as quickly. It would just take longer, right? And I tend to be a solution-focused therapist, which means I get in, I want to find the problem, I want to help you get moving on that, and we want to move through that, right? Something else comes up, we'll work on that, but I tend to be more on the, let's solve this for you, let's figure this out, yeah.
Right. This seems like it can be a very rewarding profession.
Enormously, yeah. I don't know why, but I have a definite gift of leaving my clients' lives at the office. It just goes in a box, right? When I walk away, I recognize how much happened in that day, right? How people sort of understood what was happening and why it was happening and what control they had over it. And that's a beautiful thing to see in a human, you know?
Yeah.
Wonderful to see them. Boy, when you start to exit a client and they start to articulate how far they've come, you just there's nothing better than that. Yeah.
It should probably also be stated that no therapist is right for every single person. So those few sessions in the beginning, that's when you can help figure out if you're the right fit together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you the only therapist in your office, or are there other people on staff?
Well, I could make an announcement here.
Oh,
Do it. Let's break some news.
So I had done some interviewing, and so we just got to a place where we knew, well, the wait list started, and I don't really want a wait list. And I have the room. I have room for 5 more clinicians to come into the building. I know. And so my hope is that it gets filled up and that we are able to serve the community and beyond. So today I'm going to be making a phone call. Don't tell anyone. Okay. And offering
I'll cut that part out.
offering a job to a wonderful conditional clinician who is going to be a good fit to our agency. So, so yes, we are just growing. We've just been in this building a little over a year, and we're just continuing to just meet the needs of the community, you know.
love it.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's not just individuals. There's also corporate, team, and agency training here as well.
Yeah. I've done quite a bit of corporate team building. I enjoy it. You do see a lot of transformation in that as well. It's quicker because you're usually there for, anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. You come in and you work with the team. And so you see the evidence of the effect and the way that they are treating each other in a higher level, just mutual respect and connecting with each other in the workplace in a healthy way, setting aside all of those behaviors that are not going to profit the agency or the corporation or the team. You know, the backbiting, that's usually the thing that will tear down a company, is the backbiting. And so just getting in there and being able to support, and sometimes you branch off and go to a specific team that you see might need a little additional support, but that is very gratifying because it's a little quicker even time with them. And just to know that, the retention happens, people stay at the job that they love. It's just a very different feel than, I have to go to this job and so-and-so's annoying. And, to have everyone show up as their best self is an interesting concept. And if people buy into it, it's really a great thing to see happen.
So employees are coming to you, bosses are coming to you
Yes.
to initiate these sessions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you have group sessions
Yes.
outside of the commercial or the
Therapy. Yes, we do. Yeah. And I work with, again, the Maine Resiliency Center. I also do some EAP work in Augusta for folks. I just feel like, and I also do some volunteer therapy, because,
everybody needs it.
I mean, it feels good. It feels balanced, right?
To give back.
Yes. These will be the first groups this summer that I've started here in Lewiston. So
Yeah, you said people have been making requests. Is there one that's most popular?
Well, grief work rises up really high here, obviously. And then the other two were the
Blended families.
blended families and narcissist relationships. Yeah. So there are others, families out of divorce, but we'll see how this goes. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
How do folks find information about the different group therapy sessions?
They can go to our website at simplybreathelegacy.com, and they can call us at our number is 513-0275.
Yeah. I also saw on your website that you can click a little button to book a 15-minute consultation.
Yeah, we try and make it really easy to access us. We're also on Psychology Today, but I usually respond to people not 24 hours, more like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because, I want to treat my clients the way I want to be treated, which is I would love to have a call back right away.
Yeah.
I'd love for someone to pick up that phone. I'd love to talk to a human, and so I try to do my best to do that. So
I think the biggest and most difficult step for a lot of people is just that first step of reaching out. So the faster you respond, the less time they have to say, oh no, I wish I hadn't done that.
I know.
It's so scary sometimes.
It is very scary. It is the hardest part probably of starting therapy, is that first step. But the biggest rewards come if you can be brave
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you offer full remote sessions as well?
I do. Yeah, I have some remote clients. Yeah, and of course during COVID, that was all I could do.
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah. So
That's when I started therapy.
Did
was
you?
during
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was all online, and it was like, are we ever going to see each other in person?
Yeah. I found a great therapist when I first, because I've been in Maine for 6 years, and I found a great therapist when I got here. 4 months later, we hit COVID. It's like,
No.
okay. So then we've basically been online ever since. Anytime I need her, So.
That makes it easy.
Yeah, if you're living, especially in Maine, people live in the outer areas, and it, makes sense for them,
More
for their
accessible.
schedule. Yeah.
For sure.
I have another question too about breath work.
Yeah.
Like, what is that exactly?
It is the idea of awareness of how our breath impacts our regulation, and the regulation impacts our emotional state. And so our capacity to breathe is a direct result of that regulation. So the deeper we take a breath and the more intentional we take a breath in and as much out, we are telling our body that we are going to go to rest. We are going to go to safety, right? And people are so anxious and their regulation is so intense that they can't allow themselves that, but when they can slow down and do that. So pause is you said that earlier, pause is such a big word for people. Like, what do you mean pause? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. How do I pause? Like, I got too many things to do. I got 4 kids, single mom, whatever it is. And it's like, but in this moment, let's see how this feels for you. And so very deep breath in and very deep breath out. The way I like to put it is you can do 3 breaths and your body's like, all right. But when you get to 4 or 5 and you get to 6 or 7, your body's going, oh, you're serious. Yeah. Oh, we're going to actually rest. And then by the time you get to 10, your body's like, I believe you. Yeah. I believe that we're actually going to go there, right? And when you offer that to your body will actually physically respond. So that's breath work.
It's funny. My partner, when I do breath work, will go, what's wrong? And I'll say, nothing. I was just forgetting to breathe. Like I needed to pause and breathe. And he'll be like, oh, okay.
Yes. That idea of
so funny.
Regulating self. Well, that's a concept, right?
Maybe he needs to come see you.
Well, you know where I'm located.
I do.
Why are you breathing?
What's wrong? What's wrong? Nothing. I'm breathing.
I always tell people if you're making noises when you're breathing, you're doing it right because it just takes so much to like inhale right through your nose and then like blow out through your mouth. Yeah. And people are very quiet. I'm like, no, make noise. Really allow your lungs to feel the difference so that your body can respond. Yeah,
it's a big yoga thing too.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it lion's breath? Do you know that one? Or dragon's breath, and it's like.
Yeah, no, it's just
that's a good one. Yeah, like those are my breaths.
Yeah.
Those are the what's wrong breaths.
Yeah.
It's a breath with purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything else about Simply Breathe therapy that you would like our listeners to know?
One thing that we say at our agency is we are into promoting health and healing, and we're into doing that one breath at a time, right? Which just means it's okay not to be okay. Just show up. And we will step through this with you and that you're not alone. Mm-hmm. And I think that oftentimes emotional intelligence isn't an option. Sometimes people don't know how to regulate, right? That isn't something that's been a part of their life. And so even just introducing the idea of breath work and awareness of self, how your body's feeling in that breathing, often can reset a mind, right? Because you're taking the time to notice what it feels like to breathe in and breathe out, and you're paying attention to the feelings in your body, and it's in a safe way, right? Sometimes we get so much off of the internet, so much information, and maybe we just aren't being properly held, right? Because we do these things and then we are a hot mess because we don't have the right kind of village around us, the padding around us to navigate what's going to come out, As much as I understand there's so much information out there, it's really, really important to be picking things up that are going to it's going to be safe for you. And when you're in the care of a therapist, that's part of our job, is to hold for you things that are really hard or that are new to you. And then, of course, my favorite Brené Brown quote, which is on my brochures. This is how much I love it. She says, vulnerability is the core of the heart, the center of meaningful human connection. And for me, that is a truth, because I was very black and white in my life before, and vulnerability made me move into gray, and that was the best thing for me. And life does start at 50. Yeah. So
Almost there.
yes. Well, welcome then. Almost welcome.
That's so close.
Locally owned and locally focused, Lydia Media celebrates the heart of the greater Lewiston-Auburn area through 2 magazines, Uncle Andy's Digest and LA Metro Magazine, and the new Lydia's Lunch Bunch podcast. Each production shines a positive light on local businesses, nonprofits, events, and individuals making a difference in our community. Keep your advertising dollars local and position your business in front of your target audience with Lydia Media. Learn more at LlydiaMediaLLC.com. Annette, this has been fascinating. I can't thank you enough for coming to join us this morning. And we like to close out the show with a segment called 3 Random Questions, where we get to know you a little bit outside of your profession. You shared earlier that you were a photographer.
Yeah.
You weren't a big fan of the switch from film to digital.
Correct.
Right? I'm kind of curious about your thoughts on AI and photography.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Even with AI, because the new thing is therapists can use AI to do their notes. I'm like, I don't know.
Yep.
I'm not convinced, but I'm not locked down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm open. But, we were doing some digital work back when I was a photographer. I didn't enjoy taking, a head from one image and putting it to the other. I didn't enjoy it.
Right.
It wasn't authentic to me.
Feels weird,
to my artistry,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
And so I did it because that person wanted their head moved from here to here because that was a better picture. Just because we can do it, I don't know that it's right.
Right.
But I'm not completely close to it.
It's that Jurassic Park thing.
Yeah, right. That's a very good example. Yeah.
I'm a photographer myself,
Yeah.
and AI terrifies me.
Yeah. It is not. It is not authentic,
Right.
right? And so, and I understand there's a lot of money to be made, and I'm not, but a true photographer, I think, would take pause, to that.
I agree. I value authenticity as well, and and
Right.
it's even worse when you look at an image and you can tell.
Yeah.
It wasn't altered very well.
Yeah.
So I was just curious about that.
All right, I have a fun question for you.
Good. I like fun.
What superhero or supervillain would make the best therapist?
I thought you said these were going to be easy. That does not sound easy to me. All right, let's see. Superhero. I don't know. Who's the kindest? Who's a really kind hero, you
Captain
guys?
America is very kind.
Is he?
Yeah.
Maybe Captain America, because that's one thing, you have to be loaded up on empathy to be a good therapist, in my opinion, just from where I sit. So maybe Captain America, since I don't think Superman has anything to do. I mean, he's got superheroes, but
Yeah. Someone said Batman, but just because they liked him. But when I started thinking about it, I was like, yeah, he suffered.
Yeah.
He had a lot of trauma in his childhood. Maybe he would make a good therapist.
Yeah. And that's funny too, right? Because that is the assumption that folks who are therapists must have been through a lot. And it's not always the case. I have my own childhood trauma. I don't know that it's always required.
No.
But I do think that oftentimes therapists do that work. And for me, it probably was this way too, just being vulnerable for a hot second because, it's healthy. And the reason I became a therapist, part of what underlying is probably because I want to figure these things out. I want to figure it out for myself.
Yeah.
And certainly the education that you get as a social worker, bachelor and master's, really does fill that gap for me in some wonderings that I had about things that happened in my life. So, yeah.
It's this is off topic, but it's funny how I will express something about my childhood and someone would be like, that's not normal, right? And I'll be like, oh, no, I didn't know that wasn't normal.
Check.
Okay.
Put that in that box.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that later.
Yeah. Noted. Yeah.
Sarah, would you choose Captain America
As a therapist?
As a therapist.
If I were going to choose anybody as a therapist, it would be Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk.
He's all about saving people.
All about saving people and controlling your feelings and, getting things in check and knowing that even though there's that underlying aggression, that you can still present yourself to the world in a kind and loving way.
Ooh.
Plus, he's super intelligent.
Wow, I didn't know all that, but I don't know.
I'm a big superhero fan.
That's awesome. I love it. I can learn a lot from you then.
Geek out on superheroes all day with you if you want.
That's awesome.
All right, Annette.
Give her an easy one.
I will. What is your favorite way to unwind after a stressful day, besides breathing?
Yeah. Well, breathing helps. Two things. One, if I can, I like to get to and walk the beach. We've, since moving to Maine, have discovered sea glass. And so I have this little side art thing that I do. And so I am always looking for certain shapes of sea glass. So that would be one. The other is just, if the weather's good, we live near Bates. And so my husband and myself and our dog Murdoch go for walks. And I love our walks because we go around that pond.
Yeah.
The ducks are there. Yeah. And it's just peaceful. So, especially now when school's out.
School's out, finally.
So, yeah. But those are probably the two things that I think of first. Yeah.
What kind of dog?
I was just going to say, what's
He's
Murdoch?
a little Shih Tzu.
Aww.
Yeah, and he's perfect. He's always been perfect. He doesn't bark. He doesn't shed. And he's very loyal. So,
What's your favorite story about Murdoch?
So I had lost my dog Zoe, and she was a Shih Tzu as well. She was a different color, but she had died, and I waited a few months to mourn, and then I was like, I need a dog. And I went and interviewed with this family, and met the dog, and the daughter came out, and she sat there for a little bit, whatever, and then I left. We had a little conversation. I left, and the mom called me, and she goes, my daughter Zoe said that you have to have Murdoch. And I was like, oh, and I didn't know her name was Zoe, and that's the name of the dog because we obviously talked about my dog dying.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank you. So like that day they brought him over to me. I was so happy. So that's my best. That's my best story is that like
awesome.
I sort of feel like Zoe gave him to me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what's it like to have a perfect dog?
I know it's crazy. It's hard because they can't be. You're on the other spectrum, are you?
Yes.
Oh, that's all about the human. I mean, let me just.
I don't think it's me. He came to me this way.
Sarah calls out her dog all the time on social
He
media.
came to me this way. He was like 4 or 5 when I got him, and he was a rescue, and he had been sitting in the Mid-Coast Humane Society for months and months and months, and I was like, I can't leave you here. And I should probably have thought about that before I brought him home, but you can't bring him back. He's mine now.
No, but it's the same with trauma. You can move through it. You do not have to stay in it. It's the same with dog behaviors. They do not have to stay in them. They can move through them. So I want to give you encouragement that your dog too he wants to please you.
He does.
Yes. And so he just needs to know how to do it differently because he only knows what he knows, right?
Yeah.
So whether that's through your training or through having him trained we're never too old. We're just never too old for,
We've been together 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would assume that there's some behaviors in there that are embedded. But that's just from my perspective. I barely know you, so.
But I'm going to assume that came from the previous owner.
Yeah. Oh. We could do a whole show on Duncan.
Duncan.
You would love to assess Duncan. He's one of the most anxious animals, and he has been from the moment we brought him home. I don't know what is. He has everything he could possibly want. And yet,
I bet he doesn't want to be anxious. I bet he's just being anxious because he feels like that's his role. And so until his role gets changed, he's not going to know that he can let go of that.
Yeah.
It is the same with trauma. I'm sorry, but dogs experience it too,
Yeah.
right? Because
Oh,
of all the
the
reasons they do, being in a kennel for
Who
months.
knows?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
who knows what his life was like before?
Yeah.
All we know is that his owner passed away, and it has caused some separation anxiety.
Oh, I bet.
for sure for him.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it.
Well, best to you and Doug.
Thank you. He's adorable. And
What kind of dog is he?
He's a weird little.
He's a cartoon.
He's a cartoon. I can describe him, but I'll have to show you a picture. He's a chocolate lab with the legs of a Dachshund.
Oh, goodness
The
sake.
body of a chocolate lab, the head of a chocolate lab, but just the legs of a Dachshund.
He looks like he's had some work done.
It's
my goodness.
he suffers from dwarfism.
Oh, my goodness. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
my goodness.
yeah. It's not has nothing to do with any of
little
the
guy.
breeds that he is in his system.
Yeah.
He's just
Well, and it's also the breed he is determines his demeanor too, right?
He had we did the doggy DNA with him.
Oh,
He
yes.
has about 1,000 different kinds of dogs, but primarily chocolate lab, and he's just a little wiener. There he is.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at him. He's like, what do you need from me now? What is going on?
I tell him all the time, nothing. Just sit
Yeah.
down and hang out with me, but he can't.
Look at him. He's pretty sure that there's a need there. You can tell on his face.
He's 100% sure that I need him to do something. He just doesn't know what it is, and he's been trying to figure it out for 7 years.
He'll get it one of these days,
Someday.
Sarah.
Oh, honest.
He'll get it.
The hard part is that dogs don't live as long as us.
I know.
Right?
Yeah,
And so
it is hard.
it's a lot of grief when you're going, My husband's like, we're not getting another dog. I'm like, yeah, you think.
Yeah.
You think, but
Yeah,
that's not
love
true.
ya, but dogs are amazing therapy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. When they're not in need of therapy themselves,
That's true. That's true.
the Prozac helps. Really does.
Oh my gosh.
Poor little fella.
Annette, this has been super fun, educational, and enlightening. Thank you so much for your time this
Thank
morning.
you. I
thank
appreciate it.
We
Thanks,
appreciate
guys.
you. You can find Simply Breathe Therapy online at simplybreathelegacy.com, and they're located 513 Sabata Street in Lewiston, and you can also call 513-0275. Thanks to our sponsors, Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and United Piping. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam Ashby via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com.
Have a great day, and remember, don't bite your cat. And I will say, I have bitten my cat.